Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Gulfstream. Today, Ron Nicoletti, along with Acacia Clement. It is Sunday, and as you can see, it's another beautiful day here in South Florida. Fast main track. We're on the turf. Turf is firm. What a day yesterday.
Oh, it really was. On Curlin Florida Derby Day, we had 10 stakes on the card. It was a terrific day of racing. I want to say thank you to everybody who watched and wagered on Gulfstream Park yesterday. We couldn't have done it without you. And some terrific performances by all of our equine athletes.
Yeah, and that place was crowded, and everybody had a smile on their face.
Yeah,
So that was a lot. It was one of those good days, and we're going to try and do that today. You know why? Because we got mandatory payout in the Rainbow Six a little later on, and that means you can have a chance for 20 cents, 2 dimes, get over $5 million.
That's right. It kicks off in race number 6 today. The Rainbow Six does 20-cent base wager. Everything must go this afternoon, so you can play the pick 5s as well, pick 4s. The Rainbow Six, of course, is going to be the big pool today. They caught us dancing in the open there. Ron and I are feeling good. We're ready to tackle the Rainbow Six this afternoon.
Yeah, both Acacia and I will have some tickets we'll show you when we get to that part of the show. But we're going to start it off on the turf today. 1 mile on the turf, maiden special weight fillies, 3-year-olds. Did have a couple of early scratches of the 1 and 6, and Brian will be with us throughout the afternoon, put an early pick 5 ticket together.
He did, and he has a spread in the opener right now to the outside. The number 10 Platinum Moon for Todd Pletcher, the favorite. He's tossing that one and trying to find a price in the opener. It's a good maiden special weight on the turf to start the day. A single in race number 2 with the 4 Restless Eyes off the claim for Jose D'Angelo. 2 deep in race number 3, another good turf maiden special weight. He's got Coffray trying the turf for the first time, and Deep State, who ran well last time out for Brian Lynch. 3 deep in race number 4 today, and 2 horses in the 5th to wrap up the sequence with the 3 Malibu Time and the 5 Tetragrammaton.
Tetragrammaton. I had to practice that for about 3 days before that horse ran for the first time. Getting back, I did end up with the favorite Platinum Moon, and here's debuting on the turf after breaking from the rail last time. I thought finished a promising second in a career debut. That was going that mile 70 odds on the Topeta surface. You mentioned Todd Pletcher and Arad Ortiz handling the surface switch today.
This filly is the half-2 Grade 3 winner, Shagaf, and seems like throughout this family, and I've seen several of them run, Shagaf was kind of the outlier, and he was one that at the start of his career just took a ton of money, and oftentimes in the family they do, and they have been kind of, I think, haven't maybe lived up to expectations. So this one's trying the turf for the first time. She ran fine in her debut on Topeta. I do think she's a player, but I think you could find some other interesting alternatives. Back to the grass goes the 7 Biddy Boss. What a day for trainer Brendan Walsh yesterday with 3 wins on the card. This one I think prefers the turf. She's a speed play as well. She ran well in her 2 grass races, and I think has that foundation now.
Junior Alvarado will be riding there. Then I had the number 4 in second myself, and that School Dancer's the daughter of Animal Kingdom, debuting on the turf. Pair of solid efforts going around 2 turns on the Topeta for Joe Orsino. And here's the other Ortiz, or Jose Ortiz will be in the saddle today. So, if it's true, and we don't have the numbers, but it seems to be, if you run well on the Topeta, it sort of translates to the turf, especially here at Gulfstream.
And this one has some turf pedigree, too. She's by Animal Kingdom out of an English Channel mare, so she should handle it. She's run well in the last couple. First-time starter who does have a big turf pedigree is the 5 Eco. Filly by Kitten's Joy debuting. Seems some steady workouts on palmettos. May not be ready to roll at first asking, but perhaps an interesting one on the grass.
Yeah, MSCL Jaramillo riding there for Tom Proctor. Let's go to race number 2 this afternoon, and this one is 6 furlongs on the fast main track. Claimers, fillies, 3-year-olds, no scratches in the race, and this is where Brian singled Restless Eyes, and let's show you why I think he singled, and we're just going to go. This is sort of just wanted to show you how nice this horse ran, and picking it up just at the 3/16 home thereabout, and she went just for fun in this race. So it's just a little window dressing here.
Yeah, she does. She won by 7 1/4, was picked up off the claim for Jose D'Angelo. We know how dangerous that move can be. She just keeps pulling away. You see, she did have her head cocked a little bit in the stretch there, but she leveled off, and there was just no catching her. I mean, what a performance, and it was a big drop in class. They keep the status quo. She comes back at the same level. Javier Castellano rode her last time. It's almost like too easy in this race, but it did seem really tough to get around her.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Jose has just been incredible. With his first off the claim, he's about 30%. So we'll see how that plays out. Who else went to the inside with your second horse, Adios Dixie?
Yeah, this one was second far away, but second behind Restless Eyes last time out at this level, and she was kind of chasing in there. I thought that she would be one who was second in that last race, would be overlooked because you're going to see all the money coming in on the winner, and maybe looking at some others for alternatives. But Wilfred Velasquez, as we've said, he's ridden nicely here in the few mounts that he's had at Gulfstream Park. Thought this one could grab a share.
And the other horse is the 6 that I use at Kenmay, who moves to the Joe Orsino barn after the claim, returns to the main track, duel for lead weekend to finish 4th. That was on the Tapeta. Oh, look who's riding. Tyler Gaffalione. He had quite an afternoon yesterday.
5-win day yesterday.
So let's go to race number 3. And as you mentioned that when we were talking about Brian's ticket, really nice maiden special weight on the turf at about 7½ furlongs. The rail will be set at 55 feet. And we both went with the number 7 horse in here.
Coffray, who does get on the turf for the first time for Brendan Walsh. As mentioned, Brendan Walsh, a terrific day yesterday as well. My notes from every single one of this horse's races have been, would love to see him on the turf. So finally, and I was wondering, are we going to be on the turf today? We are. We have a firm turf course to work with. He had 2 races in the last 2 that have been taken off the turf. He ran well on the Tapeta, but every single time I've wrote, would still love to see him on turf. So we get to see him on the grass today, and I think that's what he's been looking for.
Deep State, the number 5, is a half brother. It's one of my favorite turf fillies, and that's Heart to Heart, who ran here. We're going to go back and show you this horse's last race, and I just think this horse has got to win one of these days, and it's got to be today. We're going to just pick it up. She's running well in this spot. She does all the dirty work in this race, sets the pace throughout, and then gets just beat, as you'll see when she gets to the wires, the 3-5 favorite that day.
Yeah, and that was her first time with blinkers, first time actually getting to run on the turf as well. Obviously, the pedigree's there, as you mentioned. She was a short price favorite. She did get run down. And after this race, replay will go right into the stat for trainer Brian Lynch. Again, this is a horse. I think it's the 2 horses that are going to take most of the money. But he has very good numbers with maiden special weight horses on turf that finished in the money last time out. 17% win, 57% of the time in the money, and it's a positive ROI of 201. So there's every reason to believe she could move forward. I thought it's between Deep State and Coffray in this. I had the notes on Coffray. I wanted to see him on the grass, but obviously these 2 are huge players.
Yeah, and Brian Lynch, an excellent day yesterday, too. So, and then the number 2 horse we both had in third, Polynesia. I think it's not spelled the right way, but I think that's how they say it. Now in the Ruben Gracita barn. This is an $800,000 gelded son of America and Farrah getting Lasix and blinkers.
Yeah, and he debuted with Chad Brown at Saratoga in August of 2020. So coming on, it's been about a year and a half since this horse has run. He was 2-1 that day, and he didn't do much running. We haven't seen him since. So I think there's some real questions here, but he has been gelded. He's with Ruben now. We'll see as they kind of, I would almost treat him like a first-time starter going back to basics today, and we'll see what we get from him.
You got to like the fact that Luis Saez is going to jump aboard. And race number 4 this afternoon, we're going back to the all-weather Tapeta. It's about a mile 70 yards. Starter optional claimer. 4 fillies, 3-year-old started for 16 or less, so the tag is 16. 8 in the field. I'll start with mine, the 6 Sam Piper Memories, dropping it to the 16 starter optional claimer after returning from the freshening to stalk the pace, finish second against those 35 starter optional claimers. That was going a mile 70 yards on the Tapeta. It's Jose Ortiz riding for Safi Joseph Jr. I think this is the one to beat.
Safi Florida Derby winning trainer. I think it's the one to beat as well. I have my long shot in here, though. 12-1 on the morning line with the 5. And Dahlia, big drop in class for this one. She's been facing much tougher in her last 2 races, both at Tampa and here at Gulfstream, a filly by Vancouver for Kent Sweezy. Miguel Vasquez going to be in the saddle, freshened up since January. Again, I just thought that the last race where she had some trouble at the start early as well, she faced so much tougher, and she actually broke her maiden on Tapeta, so we know that she can handle the surface.
The number 7, well, I like that long shot. I got to go back and look at the number 7, Amazing Queen, is turning back slightly after closing to finish second. I was behind that repeat winner, Kaiga, going a mile in the 16th on the all-weather last time for Bill Theranos, who, boy, he had a nice winter.
Yeah,
a rattle in the saddle. So
certainly did. Very sharp claiming horses, very sharp on the Tapita as well. And Bill Theranos and Irad Ortiz had a lot of success together, too.
Let's go to race number 5. We're going back on the turf. This one is a mile in the 16th. It's a starter optional claimer for 3-year-olds, started for 35 or less, or the same tag of $35,000. And this race is named for, I believe, the champion jockey of the meet. It'll be Luis Saez. So we'll see how that goes. And let's start with your number 5 horse in here, Tetragrammaton.
And this one was claimed for Kelly Breen, and they've been aggressive with him in all of his starts so far. I mean, he's by War Dancer. They love the turf, and he really took to the grass last time out, gets to stick on the turf again today. I thought he was the controlling speed in here. That's why I went back to him. He's not in for the tag. Obviously, they said, wow, we actually have something pretty good on our hands. Claimed he takes to the turf. Tyler Gaffleone stays aboard, and I think that it's a vote of confidence. He could potentially wire the field. I wonder what Malibu Time will do, but that was a slow pace last time out, and I just thought that this horse was maybe a little bit quicker and has that natural early foot.
Well, you know, Malibu Time is probably a candidate for a rebound performance after following that maiden victory, going to the mile with a set the pace from the rail. He faded 6th, as you mentioned, for Dale Romans. So we'll see how that horse runs this afternoon. But I think those are the logical two. I closed it out with Sun Viking, who's dropping to this level, stalked the pace weakened. So it was against better last time out. The Colts' ability to stalk the pace might be the key. I see a bunch of need-the-lead types in here.
Yeah, well, I think that there are horses who tend to come from pretty far off of it. I also think in general in this race, there's horses that are much better on Tapita versus turf. For instance, Born a Gambler and Cadet Core were both absolutely awful last time out, but were so good on the Tapita. So we have to see how they translate to the surface once again.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have both our Rainbow Six tickets on mandatory payout day.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Ground ball first inside. Race. And a quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. It's last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome back. Gulfstream today, Ron and Acacia. The 6th race is where the Rainbow Six is going to start today with the mandatory payout. And we will turn it over to Pete in a little while. He'll give you all the scratches you need and jockey changes, all that when you get ready to put your ticket together. It's about a mile in the 16th under Peter. I'll show you my ticket now. We'll go with Acacia's a little later on this afternoon. Mine is 97.20. This is the only day I step it up when it's mandatory because that's the best day to do it. We'll talk about this race in a moment. Race number 7. I think Gate Runner, the one to beat, but I got coverage because I stepped it up a little bit. So let's go just down to race number 10 where I got my best bet in here. And I thought Absolute Grit was the one to beat. Absolutely needs to be on your ticket, I believe, when you're putting these mandatory tickets together. And then in the last race, 1, 6, and 7. Lost my long shot 20-1 in there. So I think know when to fold him. Looks like a logical contender. So 97-20 for me.
I like it. Good luck. And I'm sure it'll be a gigantic pool today, as is always the case for the Rainbow Six. Really excited about that.
I did go with the number 4 horse in here, and that's Joe Phillips. He's hoping to save just a little more for the stretch drive after breaking from the outside, then using his speed. And if you go back and look at that race, he opened up a 3-length lead before getting nailed by that repeat winner conglomerate, at this level and distance on the all-weather.
Yeah, there was a big performance from him. This horse definitely has a lot of speed, ran well on the Tapeta back in October, too. Certainly can handle the surface. I went to the number 5, Meteorito, who's first off the claim for Amador Sanchez. We'll show a stat for the barn as well. This horse I thought ran very well in his last couple of starts. This is first off the claim in route races. Very strong numbers, 20% off the claim and 52% of the time in the money, and just about even ROI 191. The Tapeta is the question here. His only Tapeta race was okay, but I do think that he runs better when he's forwardly placed, and this is a very sharp outfit. It does pick up Jose Ortiz.
Well, today's going to be epic.
Yes.
That's the name of the horse I'm going to talk about last. Number 9. This one goes to the Peter Waldebon after the claim returns at the same level. Rallied to finish forward behind aforementioned Conglomerate and Joe Phillips last time out. Arad's going to handle that rematch today.
Yeah, this one I think is absolutely a big player. Has been very popular at the claim box in his last few races as well. So this is the 4th trainer in 4 starts. Thought that the number 2 Superposition for Aubrey Mirage ran pretty well last time out at this level and on this surface.
Yeah, family affair. Romero Mirage will be in the saddle. Let's go to race number 7 this afternoon. Nice maiden special weight to kick off the late pick 5. Brian put a ticket together. We'll see what it looks like right now. $60.
Using it from the 4 to the 8 here in the first leg, and definitely watch the board. That's a nice thing with the multi-race sequence kicking off in a maiden special weight. See how things are playing. 3 horses in race number 8, just 2 in the 9th with Great Uncle and Space Runner in number 10. He's got 2 horses as well, including your best bet, Absolute Grit, who should be very tough in there. 2 horses in the nightcap, know when to fold them, and What Not.
What Not will be there. That's the 2 I ended up using 2 in the last. I used one other horse with that. $60 it is. And like I said, we'll start it off with Gate Runner in here. I don't know who you put on top of Keisha. It's a $60,000 son of Arrogate and half-brother to that grade 2 winner Engage. A debuting for Mr. Pletcher. Lasix, Arad Ortiz named to ride.
Yeah, this horse should absolutely be tough in here. I think I messed up. I think it was supposed to be 4-8-5 too. That's my picks in there. I did go with Gate Runner. I do think Logico's a big player, but potentially not a win candidate. Sorry about that. So 4-8-5-2 for my picks. The number 4, Gate Runner. My Rad Ortiz is going to be aboard. You mentioned the pedigree. The Arrogates, I think, have started to pick up a little bit. We have seen some, and thank you guys for that, for the picks on the bottom. It's funny. Engage was very good sprinting on the dirt, and I think 7/8 is kind of that middle distance. It's not an easy distance to debut at. I do like that the other sibling was named Meow, so we'll see what this one has to offer.
Yeah, but there's cats involved. She's part of it. You mentioned Logico. He's cutting back to 7 furlongs, rallied to finish. It actually ran an improved second going a mile last time out for Mr. Antonio Sano.
Faced Charge It, 2 starts back. Charge It ran a huge race, stepping up into the Florida Derby yesterday to finish second. But thought that this horse always shows up. Jose Ortiz and Antonio Sano have done quite well together. The question is, can he break through? And he just doesn't have much speed.
And the other horse that you have in second, I have in third. That's Broken Spurs, the son of American Pharaoh, debuting for Mr. Billy Mott with Lasix and a solid work tab showing up at Payson Park. Junior Alvarado going to ride the outside post today.
Very solid work tab. As we've often mentioned, up at Payson Park at the training center, the track is a little bit deeper. You won't usually see times as quick as the main track here at Gulfstream for training in the morning. So American Pharaoh, the dam was grade 2 place. She was good sprinting and going long. Thought that this one, maybe it's a building block race, but an intriguing first-time starter.
You know, and Todd Fletcher's got 2 in here. He's also got Days of Yore. I think we got a workout for him.
We do, and a nice thing about XBTV is that you can see a lot of horses training, and I looked back at it, and I think this is actually the 2 in company, as this was before Gate Runner had been named by Arrogate and Out of Nefertiti. So this is Gate Runner and Days of Yore training together, actually. Inside is Gate Runner, who I thought was slightly best in this workout, getting out a little bit with Days of Yore, but both of them training forwardly at Palm Beach Downs, and so it's a nice opportunity to see how those workouts go together.
And that's really interesting that they didn't name the horse
Yeah.
yet. Days of Yore, so in the race, so you got Pletcher and Pletcher. 8th race today is about 1.70 miles on the Tapeta. Claimants, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, non-winners of 2 in life. You went with the number 4 horse in here, Adele Cat.
Antonio Sano, this horse has been knocking on the door. I realize that she's not the most consistent type, that's for sure, but we know that she can run well on the Tapeta. She did that last time out. Tyler Gaffalione going to climb aboard today. And a couple of the other horses I just have some big questions about.
Yeah, one of those, the one I put on top, I'm not enamored with that much, but I thought was a real logical one. I'm talking about Siren's Lucky Songs, stretching out around 2 turns on the Tapeta after responding in the first race after the claim by Jose D'Angelo with that willing second. That was 2 lifetime claimers. Now it was on the main track. So the barn, if you look, they were good with everything. 32% with their Tapeta runners, Jose Ortiz.
And that's my question. The only time that she did go a distance was a mile on the main track and against slightly tougher. And she ran okay that afternoon. But I do wonder about the distance. Does she take a step forward today?
Let's go to race number 9 this afternoon, about 7.5 furlongs. Maiden optional claimers, 3-year-olds. If you're not a Florida bred, you're in for the $50,000 tag. Scratches so far are 6, 14, 16. We definitely know that number 13 is going to get in and run. And we'll start it off with your top pick in here. Now, I don't know, did you have Todd's horse in here?
I scratched into this one, yeah. I scratched into Space Runner, but I do like this horse. I have actually always liked him getting onto the turf. And this one went 2 turns last time, albeit on the Tapeta, but I thought it was his best race yet, and he does have some early speed. The blinkers come off today. Yes, it was a slow pace. He was able to dictate and just miss, but Treasure King did come back to win again out of that race. I think that he'll like getting back on the grass and being able to go the 2 turns on the turf.
Well, you can see how wide open it is just in our selections all over the place. What about Quantum Theories listed as a gelding? I want to go back to Son of Connect once. Change of Barnes going to the David Fox Barn. First, I'm going to show you him, the number 9 this day. We're going to show this horse running rank into the first turn, along the 9, also the 7 in there were rank. But you can just see, it's hard to get him to settle in this particular race. So, early on, I just wanted to point that out, and it just looks like he would, said, I'm going, and the jock is saying, no, you're not, type of thing. Then we'll pick it up. We'll take it, top of the stretch home where, this horse is out 50 to 1 shot on the lead. They tighten up as they turn for home, and there's the horse running on the outside. I thought it was a pretty good performance for this horse, albeit at the $35,000 level. So stepping up a little bit. This horse, I think, can run here and run well.
Yeah, stepping up off the claim, that's a question. It is interesting. He did kind of flatten out a little bit in the stretch, but he had also been fighting with his rider for so much of the early part of the race, which it is tough. That takes a lot out of a horse as well. I think it's a very wide open race, and it's every opportunity for somebody to take a step forward. Stepping up in class also was Bluto's Candy. I don't necessarily love that either. Again, I kind of elevated him with the scratch. The race 2 starts back was very strong. Danny Hertak's barn has been going really well this winter, and thought maybe I could get a little bit of a price in. Quantum Theory for all the reasons you mentioned.
Yeah, one other horse I'll just touch on. Great Uncle, the son of Uncle Mo, and half-brother to Grade 2 winner Super Tap. It debuts from Cassie, Lasix, Jose Ortiz. Guesswork here, but I like the breeding. Maybe it runs well.
Yeah, on the bottom side, as far as the mare, she never tried the turf, though she was a Grade 1 winner, and Super Tap It was 0 for 5 on the grass. Uncle Mo can be a great influence on either side, so we'll see how this colt takes to the turf.
Let's go to race number 10 this afternoon, and this one is 6 furlongs. It's an allowance optional claimant for state bred. 4 and up, the optional claiming price is $20,000. And here's the horse that made my best bet. And I mean, it's no great shakes. I think a lot of people will be using this horse. I'm talking about Absolute Grit. It's going to tussle with these $20,000, state bred optional claimers. Posted impressive back-to-back sprints against 25 starter allowance runners. I just think it's, with the big news today is the Rainbow Six. I think a horse like this has to be somewhere on your ticket.
I think you could potentially single this horse, personally. I understand the distractor. He certainly makes sense. But as far as the class and as far as the one who's going in the right direction. Now, the question is that he won those last 2. He jumped up 10 Beyer speed figure points last time with that last effort. Did it take a little starch out of him? Is he able to keep going? But he's got the inside post, Irad Ortiz, a barn that's 24% this winter, running against state bred company, coming in from starter allowance races. Just think he makes a lot of sense.
Well, you alluded to the distractors turning back to 6 furlongs, returned from a layoff, had a little trouble, hit the gate at the start, stalked the pace 4 wide, finished 3rd. It's Safi. It's Tyler Gaffalione. They had so much success yesterday. do you throw this one on your ticket there as far as the Rainbow Six? I can understand if you do, but
Yeah.
I just think this horse belongs somewhere on there.
No, and I don't think he'll be 10-1 either. I think he's kind of the other horse beside Absolute Grit, cutting back a furlong. Yes, he was beaten in a $35,000 claiming race, but he goes into State Bred Company today. He gets a big rider change with Tyler Gaffleone climbing aboard for connections that are very, very sharp. And this horse has some decent back races against tougher. We'll see if he can run back to them.
Absolute Grit trained by Rohan Crichton, and the old adage of the longer price of the uncoupled entry. Maybe it's number 8, twice too many. Who's from that barn, cutting back to 6, stalked the pace, finished third against those state-bred runners with Louis Saez outside post today.
Yeah, and this horse has been at this level for a while without being able to get the job done, so that's certainly a question, but he absolutely fits, and like you said, maybe you like the other Rohan horse.
By the way, scratched the 7 in that race. Let's go to the final race. Great way to end the championship meet with a nice field on the turf, 1 mile maiden claimer. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds, and up $16,000. Scratch the 11, scratch the 14. The 13 is going to get in and run. I thought the chances of the 11 would have been good. Not going to run. We'll see that for another day. So I moved up. I know when to fold, and we're shifting to the turf after rallying to finish second in that race. Was beaten a neck in her 16th career debut. That was on the Tapeta, Saffie Joseph Jr. Here's the key. He's only 9% with horses going from Tapeta to turf. So if you want to play devil's advocate, but with Irad in there, I think a horse you have to use.
No, I agree. A major player in the nightcap out of a Kitten's Joy mare, though Sibling did win twice on the grass. But that's an interesting stat as well. I think she's a big player. I also use the class dropper, Whatnot, who drops in for 16. She debuted at 16, ran okay that day, stepped up to face tougher last time with 25, and ran the similar kind of race on the turf. And that was with a couple of horses coming out to win. I think that now going back to 16 on the grass, this is the right spot for her.
And, the number 7, Sweet Actress, I don't know if you use, we both have this one, well, a little further down on the ticket here. It's trying to turf again after hitting the board in 5 of 6 races against similar on the Tapeta, but 0 for 5 on the turf.
Yep, that's the question. I mean, look, she's already raced 12 times. She absolutely could grab a share. And then you have a horse like Biddy Baby, who is trying the turf for the first time after running on Tapeta. I really like the progeny of Jess's Dream on the grass, and that was kind of my thought process in using this one.
Well, that is how we see the 11 race card, mandatory payout, of course, and closing day of the championship meet. But we're not done yet. We got our ever popular lightning round.
And we have a lot to talk about because it was a big day yesterday. Of course, the Curlin Florida Derby, the marquee race of the day and of the meet. White Abaria, winner of the Holy Bull. A little bit of a hiccup this past week and missed a work, but he put everything together, and hometown Florida trainer Saffie Joseph Jr. getting his first Florida Derby victory.
Yeah, and you could see Tyler, how excited he was. A childhood dream to win the Florida Derby. You're going to see it there. So
That's
just
awesome.
Incredible. And boy, Charger ran great. Yeah, he was
did.
happy as can be, and I don't blame him.
Well,
So
I don't blame him either because that goes perfectly into our next thing. Tyler Gaffleone with a 5-win Saturday, and what a day to do it as well on Florida Derby Day. I thought that this one would be a good one. Crystal Cliffs, as he came from off the pace and had this big win for Grand Motion off the layup, just kept pulling away. This was one of his 5 victories, of course, including the Florida Derby.
yeah, and that was a really nice performance. But that horse just exploded through the stretch, and like you said, Tyler, a great day.
Absolutely. And as far as some of the other stakes on the card, the Gulfstream Park Oaks is won by Kathleen O, who remained undefeated. A 98 buyer speed figure for this performance.
Yeah, I was a little surprised on that, but this horse, I talked to Shug after the race, and I said, was there a concern about the mile in the 16th distance, the first finish line? He said, no, he chose this horse because he thinks this horse is bred to go longer.
Yeah, and we'll look forward to seeing if she goes on to the Kentucky Oaks and what she could potentially do. Some of the other stakes, 102 buyer speed figure for Gufo, who came back in the Pan American with a huge performance, his first race of the year, and able to run down Avon, who we saw racing here all winter and was winning all the graded stakes in this marathon distance. Did it pretty easily, too.
Yeah, I mean, he just hand right to the wire, and I forget what horse Louis Saez was on, but he was
Avon, yeah.
No, Avon. So he comes back, and he was talking to another jockey. jockeying, and I overheard him, and he said, "That horse always beats me the same way." So I heard him say that, so I thought that was kind of cute.
Yeah, absolutely. Big day, some huge performances, but today we wrap up the meet with a mandatory payout in the Rainbow Six. It starts in race number 6.
Yeah, race number 6, we're estimating over $5 million. Brian's got it around 7. He knows all those numbers and stuff, so we'll see how it was. I still owe him lunch from the last time, so he forgot about it. I shouldn't have said anything.
You just reminded him. Well, also today, as we wrap up the championship meet, we say congratulations to, as far as the standings, we'll be acknowledging our leading in each division. Safi Joseph Jr., of course, the cherry on top, I'm sure, with the Florida Derby. Well, what a terrific meet.
Yeah, he had a fantastic meet with 57 wins, but Todd Pletcher, boy, was he good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he won a lot of great races. And there's the guy we've been talking about an awful lot, Jose D'Angelo, of course, Antonio, and Mark Cassie.
Yeah.
When you see 28, you say, wow, he won 28 races. Yeah. They had an excellent meet, too.
As far as the jockeys as well, Luis Saez has just continued to be dominant here. 120 wins, 5-win day yesterday for Tyler Gaffleone, which will put him in second over the Ortiz brothers and Paco Lopez. Some terrific riders throughout the winter.
Yeah, and Tyler just had the last great couple of weeks. Of course, you can. Yeah, as you said, once again, cherry on top with the Florida Derby. So congratulations to all of those participants, of course, trainer and jockey.
Absolutely. And we say thank you to all of you for being with us throughout the championship meet. On a personal note, as everybody knows, I usually head north after the championship meet concludes, and this time I will be saying farewell. It is my final day at Gulfstream Park as I've accepted a full-time position with the New York Racing Association. But I want to say a huge thank you to everybody at Gulfstream and First Racing, and especially to you, Ron and Brian, and the whole team here at Gulfstream. I couldn't be more thankful, and thank you to all of the fans throughout. And I'm starting to get a little emotional.
Yeah,
it is a bittersweet day, but
me too,
just very,
so,
very grateful.
And she promises to come and visit.
I will.
So that's all that matters. And what a fantastic woman. And just, I got to figure out how to do all the work that she does now. So it'll be great. She's the all-time best.
The Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance is really the vehicle for the transition for our racehorses coming off the track into a second career and safe environment for these horses when they're done racing. I've been passionate about racehorses my whole life, animals in general, and without the TAA to provide that oversight, there would be a big void in terms of making sure that we have this ongoing safe environment for our off-the-track racehorses. I'm excited about the undertaking and excited about working with our board and our team at the TAA to continue the wonderful progress that has been made. So I'm very excited about what the future holds.